Welcome, everyone, back to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host, Bob, and co-host, Matt.
How's it going, Bob?
It's good. Um, we got the Giants today. I know we want to do the Phillies, but we got the Giants just because I gotta do a quick podcast for everybody today. So if we're not staying too long on some of your favorite players, hit me or Matt up later, and then we'll hopefully help you out.
The Red Hot Giants.
They're good now.
16-4 this month?
They're not good in this 2018 version.
No.
um, I'm drinking my wild turkey today, but I forgot my ice cube, so it's a little rough going down. But I'm hopefully going to bear with it as we go through this. Now, today we have it in alphabetical order just for speed purposes today. And so if it gets a little confusing, everyone just reach out and we'll work through it. But luckily, we have Matt here able to help us today, and we have Alan Hansen up on the board first.
Bench player extraordinaire.
Yeah, nothing good here. A big chart, again, for anybody that likes the big chart fives, but best thing you're going to get out of this is a speed 21 off your bench.
For 3 spots.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Next up, we have the rookie Andrew Soares. Actually, not bad.
No.
Pretty cool pick with the camo uniform. But I mean, I know Peter likes to have a 4 control guy at this 1-16, but saving some value here maybe. He's not bad. I mean,
No. He's a number 3, number 4 potential.
yeah, I like him. He looks pretty good. Austin Slater, left field, right fielder. Nothing too crazy here. A lot of outs. Not going to hit a homer. Okay speed, but I hope you don't have to pick up this guy.
Yeah, if I had him, he would be like my last outfielder that hits 9th. At least you have a 7 that with a 19 speed.
Yeah, 7 at 130 is not bad. 130 points.
You're still getting some defense.
I know. The next guy, Brandon Belt, actually, I love him in real life. I have him on a lot of fantasy teams.
Isn't he on your team too in the league?
I have a weird, like, I don't know what you want to call it, but, like, infatuation with him.
Yeah.
He always seems to do well. Now,
+2.
Yeah. So I think me and Peter had talked about this guy before the draft about how I liked him. Being a +2 first baseman and 8 on base for only 260 with average, just a tad above average speed, but he can still hit for power. He has 19 to 20 home run. I mean, he's great. I think for 260.
It's a cost cutter too because you have some expensive hitters too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was able to go for a 260 point value pick and still grab an 8 on base guy.
Yeah.
So Peter drafted this for me during.
Oh yeah, because you had to go.
The draft was a little crazy. It was like everyone was like wanting to pick, and I'm like, I have kids, like I gotta like take care of them. But luckily, Peter and me talk so much. I'm like, Peter, you know my style. Like, just pick up the cards that fit my style in my price range. And he's like, yep, no problem. And when he picked up Brandon Belt, and I think we had talked about it before, but I was like, holy crap, I didn't realize how good he was for how low salary is. So I think he's a really good pick for people in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, he plays a huge role, especially because I think he hits pretty low for you.
Yeah.
And and you get the defense. It's perfect for 260.
Now, Brandon Crawford, again, a little bit of a pop on him. Big plus defense as a +5 shortstop, but it's a little slow. And again, you're talking now the same point value, basically, a little bit cheaper, than Brandon Belt. But I don't know. I don't see many people drafting him. But
no.
+5 is appealing, but I can't stand C speeds if I don't have to.
Yeah, and I think there's a very good amount of above average shortstops or better.
Yeah. I think the best one is like Troy, or not Troy. Troy Tulis, who just retired, but Trevor Story.
Yeah. I mean, in there you got Story, Lindor.
Oh, yeah.
Javi Baez. I mean, all those guys. But then if you're going cheaper, you can grab guys that are +5s that aren't 230.
Yeah. Next up, we have Buster Posey. He's fallen off a lot since, some of his big years, but still getting the on-base 9 here. Not a great arm. and not a great chart.
Yeah.
But for 260, I don't know. I mean, I love having a on base 9, but again, I hate C speeds, and he's not gonna. Did he get drafted?
Yeah, he's on. I think he's on the Blasters, the Bay
Okay.
Bridge, and like his whole team are nines and tens
Okay, so
basically.
he
Don't hit
so
home runs.
okay, so that's the idea here is you're just gonna get on base with this catcher. That's all I could see him being used for, because I'm stealing on this guy a lot if I
Oh yeah,
can.
and that's your downfall. And it seems like this whole Giants team is basically they're 250, 230, two
Yeah.
sixty. So it makes sense.
Next up, we have Chris Stratton, or Stratton. A 0,
Yeah.
1 through 18, 5 inning pitcher. I don't think anyone's getting this guy. Jarek Rodriguez. Now, I had drafted Jarek Rodriguez in my fantasy team on Yahoo, and he was a great late, like off the waiver wire pickup. He killed it last year. Not doing good this year, but interesting card.
Second half last year, right?
What's up?
It was his second half last year where he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
looking
he just
pretty.
tore it up, and I thought I was going to continue, but it didn't.
That's Pudge's son too, isn't it?
What's up?
It's Pudge's son, isn't it?
Is it? Is it really? I didn't know that.
Look at his face.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'd have to look that up. I had never heard that, but I guess the people listening to the podcast will correct us if we're wrong. But I don't want to spend 410 points on a 2 control reliever, but very interesting card.
Yeah, that's such a big gamble for 400 points.
Yeah, and he's gonna, like I said, he's gonna drop off next year for sure. So, this is probably maybe, I don't know if might be the best Derek Rodriguez you see.
Yeah.
Derek Holland next, which I'd rather have for on the same point value. It was a 3, 1 through 17 out, but I guess interesting here is the 18 to 19 walk. So only the 20 double here, but still, I just don't want to spend 400 points on a 3.
Yeah. That's another, it's almost like Bartolo
Mm-hmm.
2000, but it's tough. And next year he'll be in a Cubs card.
There you
maybe.
go. Next up is Evan Longoria, who's been just around everywhere, and another big defensive guy with a +3 third base. So they're stacked on the infield.
Yeah. I think we had a 5, a 2, and a 3, so we haven't even seen their second baseman yet, and that's a 10 already.
Yeah. So they're one of the better ones if you're doing like a team draft. Also, I love the way the colors came out. Did you get this one going, or did you and Peter mix? Did you guys?
No, I did this whole
Okay.
one.
It looks awesome. The orange and the highlight pops really well. And we were talking offline with our group about how pop for 2019 will work, but I really like the way these cards are popping off the page. This guy's chart is pretty extreme for a 5.
Yeah. Another one of those guys get above the 10 and you're feeling real good.
But I don't know. It's rough. I guess maybe if you were a team that like really needed some extra infield, but that'd be about it.
Yeah, he's almost too expensive for a bench too.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like you're either drafting him for the spot, or you're not drafting this guy at all.
Yeah.
Next up is how do you pronounce this? Gorkys Hernandez?
I would say Gorky's, but I have no idea.
Another 5, bigger chart, bigger home run power. Again, plus fielding. It seems like the Giants like their average players that can to play defense.
Yeah.
But I don't want this guy. Hunter Pence, who's having a much better year this year.
Yeah, way better.
Is pretty much a bench player in this with the 1 through 6 out and doesn't have a powerful chart for a 5. I mean, I wouldn't even want him on my bench.
There's nothing you could do with him. Like even a 17 is not a great pinch runner. So
yeah, and that's a pretty funny picture you put for that guy. Joe Panic.
Well, there's their second baseman.
Oh, +0.
Yeah.
But man, just nothing impressive here at all. I guess the
very middle of the road team.
Yeah. Okay, Madison Mad Bum. This is one of Peter's favorite guys, and he would love to see him on the Brewers.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he's still on the Giants. And
the thing I saw today said they're probably going to try and keep him since they've been playing so well.
I heard that also for not because they're playing well, but Marcus Stroman. They're talking now about signing an extension. I don't know
Wow.
what's going on over there, but Madison Bumgarner, great person if he can stay healthy. He gets really freak injuries. He's like dirt biking and stuff, but um, out of the pitchers, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
No double, and for 370. So this is, I think, better than the 400 pitchers that we just had looked at that were
Yeah.
twos and threes. I'd rather have this guy with the no doubles.
Yeah. When we do our tiers, like he's a tier below those two, but for the less points, he almost fits your team better.
Yeah, I think I wanted him if I remember correctly during the draft, and he was like, "You don't have enough." I was like, "Damn." I was like, I just like love having no double pitchers, but I'm pretty sure he did get drafted because he is a really
Yeah,
good
he's on somebody's
player.
team.
Yeah. Um, Nick Hundley, the backup catcher, even worse than Posey. Pablo Sandoval, Big Panda here. Wow, just
Yeah,
not good. I mean, I guess he's got some power, but no fielding, slow. Sam Dyson, not bad. I'd rather have him for a couple. If he was like maybe 20 or 30 points less, he might be more valuable to me.
reminds me a lot of like the Padres that we just did.
Mm-hmm.
Like their team's weak, so they'll probably beat up on like when these two play each other. It'll be a closer game. But both their bullpens, I think the Padres bullpen's better,
Oh
but
yeah,
their bullpen's still decent. I don't think there's any home runs or anything like that. But I think the Giants starters are better than the Padres starters.
we didn't get to. Is Will Smith in here too?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the last four are all bullpen guys.
Yeah, because Will is
Yeah,
incredible now in real life, and then he's talking about being traded as well.
he's definitely their best bullpen pitcher on this set.
Next up is Tony Watson. Yeah, this is another pretty solid guy here. I don't like the doubles here, but this is an 18 out person, so this guy could really come in and do some work in the bottom half of a lineup.
Yeah.
I don't like spending 170 here, but it's not bad. Not bad.
No, and that's a good combo after the last guy. You got
Mhm.
at least you got two good bullpen guys, and we still haven't gotten to Smith yet.
Yeah. Ty Block. This is a weird guy. So he's a 2 that can pitch 2 innings for 40 points. But nothing spectacular with this chart. So this guy you're hoping not to use if you don't have to.
It's an innings eater if you're losing.
If you're losing by a lot or winning by a lot,
Yeah,
you can pick it up. And I think that this is last up is Will Smith, which I absolutely love in real. I have him in my fantasy teams. 2 of my fantasy leagues I have Will Smith because he's a stud, and this is a great card. So for 10 more points than the other guy, you're getting a 1 through 16 out, 5 control closer, 180, 10 strikeout, pretty damn solid.
Yeah.
I was like, I assume he's got drafted in your league and he's doing work.
Yep. He's on another one of those teams. I'm pretty sure that is like a loaded bullpen.
Okay.
Like there's like 2 other good closers on the same team, or 2 other good bullpen pitchers.
So they just stacked it up.
Yeah, that seems to be the strategy that the people that thought it through. It worked out pretty well for him.
Did he have Tommy John surgery? Because he's got a nasty scar.
Yeah, I see that
on his arm.
I would assume he probably did, but he got drafted to go back to our last podcast again with Strom from the Padres on the Bay Bridge Blasters.
Okay.
And Leclerc from Texas, who still hasn't given up a hit or a run yet in our league. So that's his top 3 bullpen pitchers right there.
Wow. So that's the Giants in a nutshell, everyone. I mean, nothing too spectacular there, and at least we were pretty good on time. Yeah. What's your overall take on the Giants in terms of what you had saw also in the draft? I mean, it looks like I think a handful of these guys did get drafted.
Yeah, the pitching was.
But Belt got drafted. You said Posey.
Belt, Slater, Posey, for sure that I could remember. And then
Slater got drafted?
Yeah, he's like a number 8 or 9 hitter for somebody. And then it seems like their whole pitching staff is draftable.
Yeah, like I know Madison Bumgarner. I know Madison got taken. You said Will Smith. I assume the other guys could find spots if people were struggling.
Yeah. And the bullpen, I mean, a lot of bullpen pitchers are. I think if we redid the draft, you would see bullpen go a lot earlier because I think people are seeing how important it really was to have.
Well, and I think that's one of the big downfalls, or maybe whatever, of 2018, the set. But I don't think it's gonna be the same this next year, or actually it might be, because I think in real baseball the bullpens have been rough this year for baseball. There's a handful of elite people, but the people like Blake Trean last year, who was a stud, is not good this year. Leclerc is not good this year. So, like, some of these guys are just, there's only a handful that are still studs. I know Will Smith's doing great, but I don't know.
Is this the first? Did they institute the rule this year that a bullpen guy has to face a certain amount of batters?
No. That's not until, I think. Actually, I don't think that's until 2021.
Oh, okay.
But they're getting prepared for it.
Because I feel like that'll be interesting to see how that faces into the rankings.
Especially with our Indians. I know they like to bring in pitchers for one batter sometimes.
Yeah, it annoys me watching a game.
Well, and I think it annoys the fans.
Yeah.
I think I know I get the strategic thing, and I like strategy baseball. And even though I like universal DH, I get the idea of playing a strategic game with the pitcher and the batter. But people's attention spans are lower these days. I get it. Let's speed the game up, because you can get what baseball is exciting about in a faster time frame. I think you'll get more fans.
Probably.
I like an automatic strike zone. If the umpires are just hearing it strike in their head, through an earpiece, they could just call it. But I still like an ump being in charge.
Yeah.
I also think that there should be some kind of like almost like a Morse code type thing for the catcher pitcher to call pitches. So some kind. Sign stealing? Yes, there's no sign stealing, because I know they're worried about that. So I was thinking, like, you could just have a little clicker type thing that just goes to the it's like silent for the catcher, but it goes in the pitcher's ear and it just goes click click. You know what I mean?
I would doubt if that happens, or something close to that.
Yeah, they were talking about doing some kind of communication that can only be through the pitcher and catcher, but I don't know how you communicate without the batter knowing, unless it was some kind of like tapping, like
Apple Watch text messaging.
Yeah. But I was like, I'm trying to think of like ways to make it faster without. I mean, I know they want to like move the mound back and stuff like that. I start to like dislike certain things, but I think there's small things you can do, like automatic umpiring. Like I said, if you're worried about sign stealing, and if it's taking forever for the pitcher and the catcher to shake them off, like if I was the pitcher and I was just like, hey, I kind of want to throw a strike here, so I would just hit my little thing a couple times, and it would the catcher would know. There's no worry about sign stealing, no worry about anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't moving the mound back just seems to completely change everything that pitchers have learned growing up. But
yeah, but the thing is, in baseball, they've done this before. They've changed the strike zone. They've changed the mound height, distance. The one thing I don't like is that minor league rule where they're testing out second base, like in the extra innings they have put a batter the last out on second.
Yeah, it's too much like college football for me.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not okay to me. I mean, I guess it makes it super exciting, but I don't know if anybody watched the Indians game last night, but Jose Ramirez hitting a home run in the 14th was pretty exciting.
Yeah, but if there was a runner on second, we would have got two, right?
Yes, there you go. But I
think the one thing like that Showdown does miss compared to like real baseball is, like you said, the strategic matchup. Because if you're going to your bullpen in Showdown, you're going to probably go to your higher control guys against the better hitters, instead of like that whole lefty righty.
Yeah, no.
So I feel like
Clutch has that pretty good. Clutch has a like
it has and stuff like that.
What's up?
Don't some of the cards have like +1s for when they face?
So it will say like 5 control, and then it will say like +1 to lefties or +1 to righties. Like it could be a righty that does really good against righties, and he gets like a +1 or a +2. So it's a really that part of Clutch is really intriguing. I mean, and we could always do something like that. It starts to get a little text heavy. Yeah. And what I noticed is when I played Clutch the first time, I forgot about all that. Like I would see the control and go, my guy's a 5, your guy's a 3.
Right.
No big deal. But I would forget that, oh my God, I have a righty matchup here. I know the people that are more entrenched in Clutch, it's sort of second nature. You just know the lefty's coming up, and you know your guy gets the advantage. To me, I think a more fun, it's not a bad way to do things. I think a nice way to do things is what Clutch does, which I really like, and I want to do for us, is stadium cards. and I might just take the stadium cards from Clutch that don't require random things from strategic cards. But there are some that say, like, I think there's one for the Orioles that said like uh, left or like righty or right-handed batters or switch hitters against lefties. Their last double is a home run on their chart unless they're facing an Orioles pitcher.
Interesting.
And so they have cards like that, and it's really cool. So what I was thinking about is if you just use this stuff from Clutch, because Clutch does such a good job, and everyone, if you guys like Clutch in the 2002 to 2005, I recommend going to Clutch. If you like the 00 to 01 style, you're probably going to stick with Showdown. But I could give everyone like a random stadium before the game. This is actually what Clutch does in their leagues. You get a stadium, and then you go to build the team around the stadium, or not. It's up to you. You know, you can build it. Like that one, I made sure I had heavy Orioles pitchers and a lot of right-handed batters. But it only happens when you're home. When you're away, you got to use the other pitchers, the other person's cards. So it actually really is intriguing, and I think you could do some really fun stuff with that. But I think that adds just a tiny bit of complexity and strategy versus getting so entrenched in a card. But you could easily put Control 5 up at the top, and then just underneath, just, you know, L+1, R+1, or whatever. But it would maybe take more research on our part to make sure we got all those statistics down.
It would be a lot more. I just always thought of that as something because you see it now, like, oh, there's a lefty coming up, we got to bring a lefty in.
Yeah.
Whereas in Showdown, it's like, well, I got this 5 against a 10 instead of a 3 against a 10. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. Now I know the other guys that did the Showdown cards before us on the website that other Matt did, and Colby, I think his name is, but they had done it, and they actually produced some cards, some batters.
I remember those.
Yes.
They had 2 cards, right?
Yeah, so you could either get the regular guy who was like an 8, or there was a secondary card that was like a 10 as a righty, or like if he was or against a right-handed pitcher, or he's like a 5 against a lefty. You're like, whoa, that's pretty extreme.
The Lonnie Chisenhall effect.
Yeah, exactly. But before we keep rambling on, everyone, I think it's if you stayed to this, you listen to some more of our thoughts and opinions. But that is the Giants podcast. I hope you guys liked it. Stay tuned. Next is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies. That's hopefully going to be Matt again. And if not, we'll have Peter as well. So maybe we can bounce a bunch of ideas off each other. And I think he's got a lot more cards because the Phillies obviously had a bunch of pennant run edition stuff. So we'll see what they do. Any other last words, Matt?
Nope. Just talk to everybody on the next one.
All right, cool. Thank you, everybody. Thanks again.